Shows clowns with red noses that can be seen to depict former State Security Minister Siyabonga Cwele, the newly appointed Water and Sanitations Minister Nomvula Mokonyane, Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene, and Agriculture and Fisheries Deputy Minister Bheki Cele. The cartoon also has voters watching on and describes them as the clowns who voted them in, and also uses an Afrikaans insult. The media house was forced to apologize following outrage on the social network Twitter. Has the cartoon surpassed the media ethics? That is the question. Meanwhile, the ANC will this morning picket at Primedia offices in Johannesburg. Now, for more on this story, we are joined on the line by the ANC Manager of Communications, Khoza. Mr. Khoza, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
What is wrong with this particular cartoon?
Well, this particular cartoon, it is wrong in more than one way. Firstly, it ridicules public office as being occupied by clowns. We can deal with that. Two, it calls people who voted the ANC pooples, assholes. It also goes further to call them clowns. Which means that the people who voted for the ANC can't be taken seriously. We view this in serious light. The majority of people who voted for the ANC happen to be African, which means even in the cartoon, when you look, the depiction of the people who voted is in a darker color, which means black people are clowns who voted for the ANC. And we think that this undermines the constitutional right of our people in terms of the freedom of choice, freedom of association. While the media cries out when you tamper with expression, freedom of expression, in this instance, they think there's a right to undermine the freedom of choice of people to choose who should govern this country. It is anti-democratic practice, it is racist, and it is indecent, to say the least.
Now, do you think that the cartoon seeks to affirm the stereotype that black governments cannot govern?
Well, it says government can't govern, despite the fact that for 20 years, South Africa has been on a progressive course to reverse the legacy of our past, of apartheid, of racism. It shows that there are, within the media, there are individuals with deep-seated racist tendencies that are now trying to show out, to play themselves out. And this is important because the issue of racism in South Africa is an issue that still needs to be confronted, an issue that we do not need to shy away from. And that's why we said, despite the fact that an apology has been registered by Primedia, we still need to undertake a campaign to challenge these racist undertones and behavior and insults in the public domain, that people do so with a clear understanding that the media is not exercising, some sections of the media do not exercise responsibility to counterbalance the freedom of expression.
Looking at the cartoon itself, it says a Congress of clowns. Does that maybe point a finger to the ruling ANC?
Well, certainly it is the ANC because those people represent the ANC in government. Those are people that have been installed as ministers following the ANC victory, who happen to be ANC members. So this clearly is an indication that whoever that was behind the cartoon did not want the ANC to win. They do not believe in the ANC. Well, that's a decision that we can't take from them. If they think ANC shouldn't win, it's what they feel like. But for them to even go to an extent of insulting those who voted for the ANC, that's taking it too far.
Don't you think that this particular cartoon are looking at specific ministers, because there's specific ministers on the list there that are mired in controversy?
While it does look at specific ministers, I mean, that he fell off a chair, you can't hold him responsible for a chair that was defective, you know. And also the issue of the other ministers. Those are matters that are political, that have been dealt with. You can say whatever you want, you don't have a problem. But once you say people who voted the ANC into power are clowns, it's no longer about those ministers. It is about the voters individually and collectively. It is about democracy and the failure of those behind the cartoon to accept a democratic outcome.
Now, you are picketing this morning before Primedia. Now, please give us some more details about the planned picket.
Well, we are picketing already. We're outside Primedia as we speak. We have had the Primedia management addressing those who are picketing outside. The spokesperson of the ANC has spoken to them as well. We will be engaging Primedia management, but we'll go beyond just management to also engage the shareholders of Primedia, because we want them to come out clear and make a statement of distancing themselves from these cartoons and what it represents.
So what are you hoping then to achieve at the end?
Well, this should be a campaign. From where we're standing as the ANC, is that we need a campaign that starts to address racism in a very systematic way, because it is quite clear that racism is still an issue in South Africa. It is not only about the individual in Primedia and the editor who deemed it fit to publish that. It is about other incidents of racism in the country that we also need to draw attention to.
Do you think, in your view, Mr. Khoza, that some media houses are misusing the freedom of expression to undermine the gains that we've made thus far in our democratic society, or are they just pushing the boundaries?
This is one example that some media houses do that exactly. And it is something that has to be challenged. In the same way that media will try to protect the freedom of expression, we also need to fight to ensure that racism does not exist in media houses, because we view them as a platform of influence in society that must help us to entrench democracy and good values that are going to assist this country move forward.
Mr. Khoza, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
That was Keith Khoza, spokesperson for the ANC Manager of Communications. Now, the